Is there a giant black pyramid in Alaska? And could it be interfering with human consciousness? Well, Tom DeLonge has a lot to say about it.
There's a pyramid and it's underground, and they've been studying it for decades. Yeah, it's bigger than Giza.
Even more incredible, could there be more of these things around the world? And what are they for? Well, I asked a U.S. government psychic what he thought, and he told me what he saw and what they might be for. And does this have anything to do with the flurry of UAP activity that was spotted over the Arctic in early 2023? A newly released memo reveals that Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was briefed about those strange objects that were seen in the sky that NORAD tracked in 2023 that ended up being shot down. But based on the memo, the number count shows there were 4 UAPs, not 3. So what happened to the 4th? Why weren't we told about it? That revelation, coupled with statements by Christopher Mellon saying that NORAD may be intentionally hiding UAP encounters, even citing his own example, well, this only bolsters allegations there is something strange beyond our current understanding that's happening way up north. But what does this have to do with the alleged pyramid?
It's not that far from Valdez, I believe. And I know a very important person that from the Pentagon that met with one of the lead defense contractors that were studying it, and they told him, they said, we think we finally know what it's doing. It's all turned on. We think it's suppressing consciousness. That's what he said.
Valdez, Alaska, the region where DeLonge suggested, is not the only prominent area that ufologists talk about. Not far is Mount Denali, and that's where Linda Moulton Howe picks up the story.
And that at each of the 3 corners, they had these offices that were actually monitoring energy.
Linda Moulton Howe has been on her quest to uncover the mysteries behind things like UAPs and cattle mutilations since before most YouTube viewers were born. But does that make her right? Could Tom and Linda both be talking about the same location? Could they be using the same source? Could they be each other's source? Again, none of this is clear. But here's what the internet has to say about it. This location is often picked out and targeted online. It's visually interesting in that the land does look like a 3-sided pyramid. It also has a very well-maintained airstrip next to it in a spot that's in the middle of nowhere. Now, the area does look like a mine, just doesn't have any mining equipment on site. And there are buildings, at least based on the resolution that Google will give you. They do look remarkably similar to buildings that are constructed by U.S. military contractors in conflict zones. These are temporary bases. Folks online have even looked at the region under different filters trying to see if they can find the object. Now, some point out to some 4-sided areas as specific spots where the pyramid would be located. I don't really see it, but it shows the appetite for answers, if it's true. And according to a top former Pentagon remote viewer, they even brought him there to try to make contact with a UFO. The late Ingo Swann is renowned for his incredible abilities, and that drew the attention of the U.S. government. Swann underwent extensive testing and was put to use by the U.S. government. One of the many books that Swann wrote was called Penetration, and in that book he talked about a government agent named Axelrod in the late 1970s who flew him up to a landing strip in the remote Alaska wilderness, where he was then taken to a small lake close to where this pyramid was supposed to be located. And it was there he allegedly watched a UFO descend from the sky into the water and disappear. Another top psychic Swann worked with was his very good friend Uri Geller. More than just a spoonbender, Geller and Swann represented 2 of the most powerful psychic minds of their generation. I asked Geller directly about the pyramid and if it could be sending a signal that interferes with our consciousness or impacts our natural psychic abilities, as Tom DeLonge suggested. Now, Geller told me it was entirely likely there was something in Alaska underground, and it could be emanating a frequency, but he said that there were likely many other similar objects all over the world. He pointed to places like Easter Island, Jerusalem, even the Giza Plateau beneath the paw of the Sphinx. He thinks there might even be a UFO that's buried. When pressured, Uri was hesitant to say more, but I did get the sense there were more details he just wasn't willing to disclose at this point. But when it comes to pyramids, we really don't understand the history of this building design. China has more pyramids than any other place on Earth. And this is deep below the ocean off the coast of Cuba. Whatever is down there, this does not look natural, and given the design of this pyramid, it really shouldn't be there given our history. And because these pyramids can be found all over the world, there are huge gaps in our history that we really don't understand. You can even look at places like Antarctica. Lots of folks think these structures are actual pyramids, not just mountains covered in ice and snow. And if you really want to stretch your mind, these are suspected pyramids on Mars. And what's interesting? Well, Ingo Swann, when he worked for the US government, they had him do a remote viewing session for Mars of 1 million years ago, and what he saw was a dying alien race inside tall buildings, some of which were pyramids, and they were trying to save their civilization by traveling to Earth. North to the future is Alaska's state motto, which is really fitting if we're ever going to pull back enough of these onion layers around disclosure to try to find any sort of comprehensible truth. You know, it's no coincidence the top of the world is awash with UFOs and strange sightings, because whatever is going on up there, if we want to figure it out, we just need to look up. I'm Sean. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I know I really appreciate it, and so does YouTube's algorithm. And don't forget to leave your comments below. Tell me what you think. Stay tuned. There's another great video coming up next.